Hey, it's Eli K. Atlas, and in today's video I'm going to be drawing, or rather speed coloring, 96 Souls, page 17. Shout out to Stanley Jacobs for having me aboard the 96 Souls comic book adaptation, and hopefully you guys enjoy this video as much as I enjoyed working on this page, and let's get into it. So for this particular panel, it's a bit of an interesting one, without giving too much of the story away. Our main character, a scientist, he is having a bit of a hallucination, and it's kind of a supernatural, spiritual power kind of thing, and he's seeing the true motives or true self of somebody. So he's seeing the without giving too much of the story away, right? So there's this guy who's after him basically, and he's seeing the guy's spirit and how the guy actually is trying to attack him. And so I had to play with the colors. I wanted to follow the guideline again because the client provided a lot of layouts and guidelines and things like that, so I wanted to follow the color scheme, but I still wanted to give it that comic book kind of feel, so very vibrant. And I kind of figured out a way to kind of compromise and find a nice middle ground. I consulted with him about it, and he gave me kind of the green light to do certain things on this particular page, so I knew how I wanted to attack it. So right now I'm kind of doing some color picking, some swatches, kind of figuring things out. With this particular panel, the guy himself, the protagonist of the story, he kind of sees in a particular kind of shade of teal or like a bluish green. So the entire environment is going to be one color, and the character that he's seeing the spirit of is going to be pretty much their own colors, but a little bit more maybe saturated or something, a little more emphasis on it. So I started with the color blue, and then I just adjusted my color sliders, hue and saturation, until I got the color that I was looking for. And again, to save myself a little bit of time for panel 2, I copy and pasted panel 1 and then just fit it into the panel beneath it and made some adjustments from there. Again, something I would highly recommend a lot of you artists out there do. If you guys don't do it already, it'll make your sequentials move along a lot faster. Because at the time of the recording of this particular page, and even as I'm recording this audio, I'm working on like 3 books at a time right now. So I'm trying to make sure I'm optimizing my time, make sure everybody's happy, all the clients are happy, trying to make sure all my work and everything is on track. So copy and pasting has saved me a lot of time. Layer clips, clipping masks, things like that. As they say, work smart, not hard. It's just a matter of pretty much editing the individual panels to get the effect that we want. And I'm kind of leaving some blank spaces and stuff here until the very end of the coloring process itself. Post-production, I like to call it personally, because I'm going to be adding some lighting effects, some blurs and things like that, which I will do in Photoshop. Because I do my coloring, the majority of my coloring, in Paint Tool SI, which is the program you're looking at right here. Again, jumping to the next page that I can finish the fastest, which would be panel 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, panel 7. And we see our main character, the protagonist himself, waking up after his hallucination. So he's a bit disgruntled, disoriented, and he's waking up, he's feeling a little groggy. And these are pretty simple colors, again, very accurate to the story itself, very accurate to life. Didn't want to go too crazy with any coloring or anything like that, because again, the client had established his own aesthetic through the movie, which I was adapting. So I kind of wanted to just follow what they did, but you know, still give it a little bit of that comic book vibe to it. So the guy kind of wakes up in an alleyway. There's a staircase. There is, you know, some fences and things like that. And this particular fence is yellow, and it's supposed to look a bit dirtier than this. So from here, I will start with the color of the fence, or staircase rather, which is yellow, and then I'll kind of play with this hue and saturation to make it a little bit darker. And from there, I'll also export this page into Photoshop, and from there I'll kind of dirty it up with textures and things like that, just to give it a little bit more character and make it a little more true to life. Then we jump back, or rather backtrack, to page 6, or rather panel 6. And from there, it's a very simple shot, very direct shot. Doesn't need much elaboration. We just kind of get a point of view POV kind of thing where the guy's, you know, waking up or rather falling asleep and he's staring at his feet. So he's kind of coming to. Everything's a little blurry. His vision's still in that teal kind of color. So that's why I'm using the blue, which I will adjust with the hue and saturation sliders until they, you know, get to the color that I want. Sometimes it's hard to get the exact color, which is where overlays and things like that help, because I can combine two different colors, put them on top of each other, and then you can kind of use opacity, hard lights, transparency, and things like that to achieve the exact color, or at least get as close to it as possible as I want. We'll backtrack again to panel 4. Doing panels with people are always the easiest ones for me personally, just because I have my swatches pretty much already set in the order of skin tones. You got, you know, light skin tones and then like brown skin tones, and then you can kind of adjust hue and saturation and things like that, brightness, luminescence, everything in between. So panels with people are always the fastest, always the easiest. It's when you get involved with things like coloring outfits, things like that, is when it takes a bit more time, but again, I have swatches for that. So those are one of the reasons why I always tackle panels with people or just faces or heads in them, just because they're like super simple to do. Once you know your light source, you can pretty much do it anything you want with it, you know. And now panel 5, I believe, after this part. And now I move on to panel 5. This panel was a bit interesting because I ended up coloring it silver, because I ended up coloring the staircase silver, I should say, because on the layout that I was given, the client wanted me to kind of come up with the panel itself, because I guess maybe he didn't have a good shot or something of the guy rolling down the staircase and landing into the alley, so he kind of put a placeholder in there, which I ended up kind of mistaking for the actual thing, but he actually wanted the staircase to be the yellow color that it ends up being. But I was working off of the layout and I thought it was silver. But yeah, a little bit of a blooper there from me to you. Hopefully you guys enjoyed watching this video. You can see how the page turned out. Hopefully you guys enjoy it, and thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you got something out of this video. Make sure you keep an eye out for 96 Souls once it is released. Shout out to Stanley Jacobs for hiring me for the project of the comic book adaptation of his movie. Make sure you guys check it out. I'll have all the links once everything is ready. Thank you guys for watching. I shall see you later.